fucking wet.
Rev up tune-up.
Go for it. Let's hear the rev up tune-up.
Wait, I forgot to hit the button.
Well, that's embarrassing. Well, that's that. So there's a Chrysler 300 cold start. So what's up, guys? Stopping Blades. We're back at it again today on Sunday. We are driving a Chrysler 300.
2015.
2015. It has the
all-wheel drive.
And the
It's the Touring Edition.
Touring Edition. All-wheel drive. V6.
Show the kilometers.
435,000 kilometers. So far, pulling out of the driveway. Apparently you can't pair phones unless you're parked. I don't like that. It's terrible.
It's so that you're not distracted while driving.
Listen, buddy, if I'm buying a car, I want to do what I want when I'm driving.
This is all about safety, this car.
Is it?
Yes. If you get out with it and drive, it automatically goes into park. If you get out with it in neutral, it automatically goes into park.
It's odd driving an automatic. I feel my masculine urges just sinking away, and
somebody lost their exhaust shield.
So he told me I can't give it power because
not a whole lot of power.
There is a extreme transmission oil pan leak. So unfortunately, we're not giving it the beans. It's slower than the ST. I smacked the fuck out of this car with it. Remember that?
You can't, no.
He tried to keep up and he couldn't.
We don't know because I don't go fast.
No, we were at 200. Don't say you.
No, I was not at 200.
I was at 200.
This car has never been at 200.
I was at 200, and that's why you lost the fucking race, buddy. So, so far, it's cruising pretty good. It feels smooth. It has a cloud steering option. By cloud steering, I mean it feels like there's like zero response, zero resistance. Not a fan of that, but luckily it has multiple options. Sport. Let's go sport. Yes, I want sport mode. See, there we go. Now it's more responsive. Feel resistance a little bit. I like that. Like, it has options for the power steering. Tell us a little bit about this car.
Okay. 8-speed transmission.
Yep.
Which means it doesn't rev high. You can be cruising at 120 and still have low RPMs.
Like, what are we talking about?
Like 2,000.
2,000 RPMs at like 120.
Yeah. The only downside to having all those gears is when you do floor it, it takes a while for it to figure out what gear to go into.
Okay, most automatics.
But once it finds it, you're gone. Haven't had a whole lot of issues with it, although it is built extremely stupid. One of the big issues with this motor is the rocker. I think they're called rockers. There's the little things that flip
seesaws.
And the pins shear off, so you'll get the classic ticking noise.
Yeah.
I had that. It was fixed under warranty. After that, there was no more engine issues internally. The oil cooler leaks. That they changed their design, and the first time they made it, it leaks. So you have to replace that. You'll get oil in the valley.
Yeah.
I've done that, and that was the only thing I had to touch on the engine. Drive shaft, rear drive shaft, center bearing gives out. It's can hear me. So yeah, they made it so you can't just change the center bearing on the rear drive shaft. Also, for anything concerning ball joints, you would think something simple, another $30, $40 ball joint if you need to change it. Not on this car, you're changing the entire control arm. So they've made it that any simple little routine repair is extremely expensive. I've changed my control arms upper and lower twice so far. I went with the, Novotech or Mihotech? I don't know. I went with
Mihotech.
The aftermarket, whatever. Mihotech or whatever. I probably sound retarded. That's all right.
I want to hear a little bit about axles, because I know from what I experienced with Dodges, they're one-piece axles. You can't just change that. There's no half shaft. You know what I mean? You got to get the whole axle.
Yeah, the 2014 model and lower, it was a half shaft. You could split the axle and change your bearing if you needed to.
Yeah.
But from the 2015 up, it's single axle. There's no splitting it. It's just not possible.
What would something like that run somebody?
Well, it's $1,200 just for the part itself. Then, of course, they recommend, the work itself, if you're following the book, you got to split the exhaust, drop the exhaust out of the way, move all this and that, and then finally you can get at it. When I did it, I didn't remove the exhaust. I was able to get it, without doing that. So it saved some time. But the first time I got one off eBay, a second-hand drive shaft, didn't have a whole lot of money, so I was going cheap. Got a year out of it, and then the bearing again gave out on that one. So then I went with the Mopar OEM, second or third generation of its drive shaft, because they keep updating them, and I had the dealer do that. So aside from that, I've had to change my front, I don't know if they're called shafts or axles or CV axles. It's what goes to the wheels. The seals on them was leaking, and instead of just replacing the seal or the boot, whatever it's called, I decided to replace the axle. So that went relatively well. I've had to change a front bearing on it, and I don't know if it's all Dodge or just Chrysler, but the bolts they use to hold the bearing on, there's 4, and it's like a reverse torque. I think it's an E-socket, or it's something stupid.
Yeah, it's E.
And they made it like it's, say, the equivalent of a 10 millimeter, but you can't use that because obviously you'll strip it. But that's about the size of the bolt head. So here you are, trying to get some force on that, and the small little bolt head just bugging.
Alright. Sorry about that. The GoPro died for whatever reason at 32% battery because of 0 battery life. I gotta roll down the window because it might overheat. So yeah, back to the Chrysler 300 questions. I know you travel a lot. What's your experience with long distance journeys and fuel mileage?
Okay, so this car is easier on fuel than my 200. Before I had this one, I had the Chrysler 200, and this one is easier on fuel than that. Numbers, I'm running about 9 point something liters per 100 kilometers. I don't know what that comes out to in miles per gallon, but I figure it must be around 30 or so, 29, 30. I think that's mostly because of the transmission, the 8-speed. It keeps the RPMs down. It's always got, a gear for what you're needing. In terms of driving this thing, it just loves the highway. You can be cruising in this thing, comfortable seats, heavy car. I mean, you can be cruising in this thing for hours, get out, not be sore or anything. It's just made to go. I had a little Neon, a few vehicles back, and you drive that thing like 40 minutes and you feel like you're a cripple. You get out and you're all stiff, you're holding your back, barely can walk. So having the extra room really is beneficial if you're in it for a long time.
All right, I have another question. This is an important one. With your experience as a mechanic, which I want you to touch on, where your level as mechanic experience was at, how would you say repairing your own vehicle, aka this Chrysler 300, would be for just the everyday person with just a handful of tools and, budget type shit.
Well, in terms of tools, pretty much forget about it. If you have just a little do-it-yourself kit, you just get a little simple tool kit from Canadian Tire or wherever, you're not going to have what you need. This car has made it complicated. It has been designed in the efforts. They want you in the shop. They want you in there. They want those billable hours. They don't want you at home working on this. But if you do have, service data, or you find it on YouTube, the how-tos, you can, get stuff done. But oftentimes, something super simple, you're going to be removing stuff that you never imagined you'd have to remove. In terms of cost of parts, if you're going through Mopar parts, everything is ridiculously high. I don't know why, but everything is just super high. The front drive shaft, which is only maybe 2.5 feet long, costs the same as the rear drive shaft, which is, maybe 5 feet. We live again?
Yeah, we're back. Sorry about that. GoPro died again at 30%. This thing's fucking garbage. Alright, continue.
Alright, so yeah, a little rant about the GoPro 4. It is complete garbage.
It's 11. GoPro Hero 11.
11? I don't know what it is. It's garbage. So yeah, going back, most recent repair I had to do to this car was the front drive shaft. Universal joints seized up on it. Again, a non-serviceable part. You can't just put new universal joints into it. It needs to have the whole drive shaft. So they seized up, drive shaft cracked. I might have a picture which will get inserted, probably here. When that happened, it cut off all the wires going to the transmission, which it's a electric, managed transmission. Car completely freaked out, didn't know what to do. Also, it hit the oil pan on the transmission, putting a crack in that, so I am losing transmission fluid. I have a new pan, a little over $400 Canadian for the pan, plastic pan, filter integrated into it, so you have to change the whole thing. Got the transmission oil. It's a special 8-speed, 9-speed transmission oil. You can only get it from Mopar, and that's like $42 a liter Canadian. So again, huge expense for something so simple. I'm going to attempt to change it myself. Maybe we can show some of that, maybe not, who knows. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say with that. But I've had the car for 6 years, not a whole lot of issues with it. It is pretty solid. It's 4,000 pounds, so this thing's like a tank, when you're in snow, slush, whatnot. It holds the road real good. Super windy out today, and, we're not being pushed around. I know the little Focus, we'd be wobbling from line to line, most likely.
You're fucking high, buddy, if you think my car's wandering around.
Plenty of power. This thing comes in at give or take 300 horsepower. So yeah, it does have plenty of power, but the downside is you have the weight, so it's...
Make sure you mention it gets slapped by Focus ST.
Well, I was going to say it has a hard time to keep up with the little 4 cylinders that has the turbo and, the little zippy cars, but I don't know if at high end who would come out on that.
Me.
I don't push this thing, so I'm not sure what it's capable of. I don't know if it has a cutout or not. Most vehicles cut out at 180. That's kilometers per hour. I don't know if this one cuts out at that or not. But it definitely has the power you need if you're going to go around someone. You're able to do it.
Do you remember the time we were on Port Daniel Mountain? We were ripping through traffic at 200 in my ST, and you're like, no, stop, I'm scared. And I'm just fucking, going through it.
Yes, I was praying.
You remember that?
Yes.
I wasn't even to the floor. I wasn't even in the last gear. Just so you know that. And that was just me playing through traffic. I'd eat this fucking thing.
Well, this thing can do all right.
Oh, this car definitely holds its own.
But
Definitely.
But you got to think there is a difference between the class. This isn't a sports car. This is what people would call an old man's car. It's a luxury car.
It's a poor man's luxury car.
It's a poor man's luxury car. If he can't afford something.
It's not quite a Lincoln. A Continental would blow this out of the water, I think. But it is what it is. Like the Chrysler 300 is the next best option, right?
Well, you got to get what's in your budget. You know, I've been my previous one, like I said, I had the 200 before this. I had the 300M before that. It was a 2004. So I downsized, and then I went back to the 300. It is a nice car to drive.
So this car is what, 2015?
2015.
Right now, I'm going to get out. I'm going to do a walk around. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've experienced so far up until Bonaventure, which is quite a regular spot for me.
But you've also driven this before. This was the car you did your road test in for your license.
I did my driving road test in this fucking thing, and a boat, honestly.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, when you're doing your road test and you can drive something like this, it shows the whoever's doing the test that you can handle a vehicle. You know, it's not one of those small little cars that you can put two of them in a parking spot.
For a person who was quote unquote new at driving, I wasn't really new, but like I was quite inexperienced, right?
Well, you had lots of experience.
I learned to drive in like fucking Chevy Cavaliers and Mercury Cougars and shit like that. I never really drove anything quite as big as this thing, right? So during the backup test, because usually you get the like back up into a tight spot, I couldn't get it straight. I didn't, like, they told me not to look at the camera.
I bet you peeked.
I definitely peeked.
You were glancing.
But for the most part, I used my mirror. I didn't set my mirrors or anything either. Like,
you should always. I'm going to give someone a tip if they're about to do a road test. Regardless if the mirrors are perfect, just grab onto it. Make it look like you're adjusting it, even if you're not doing anything, because it's going to show the person.
This is a Chrysler 300 review, not a fucking get my license review, buddy.
I'm telling you, you don't even got to move it. You just grab it, and they're going to be like, that person knows what they're doing. Point.
So, right now I'm going to show them what 435,000 Chrysler 300 looks like, what kind of shape it's in.
Pop the hood? We might as well give them the full tour.
Oh yeah, sure, why not?
Well, I can show them. I don't know. No, they don't need this.
I just beat the GoPro off the fucking. All right, let's see what kind of. See all the jizz rags? He jerks off a lot.
Oh, fuck off! One hand, look, one hand.
All right, you guys hear that? Sounds like a tensioner that's making a little bit of noise. Yeah, there's a little tick coming from it.
Low on antifreeze. My radiator's leaking.
Radiator's leaking.
I haven't oil leaked from whatever this thing is. It's a sensor of some sort.
For the most part, it's kind of clean. Like, the engine looks healthy. It sounds a little healthy. You know, there's ticks and shit. It's 450,000 kilometers, give or take, right? I'm around it off to 450. So body-wise, the body's all right. We live in the fucking Rust Belt, a fucking shithole nowhere, and I'm surprised it's not more rusted than it is. Like, you know, like it's 450,000 for 2015, and we live in the fucking Rust Belt. He travels with this fucking all year round, winter, summer, doesn't matter. He travels quite far with it. He puts an outrageous amount of kilometers on it a year. The body seems to be in fucking great shape. I'll give that to it. This is the only spot which is a little worrisome. That's a shitty spot to get rust, but it is what it is. Yeah, the stones get kicked up on the highway around here and is beating off your fucking car. Has just steelies on because again it's winter time. This car comes with what?
Mags, 19-inch.
19-inch mags. So the wheel size is 19.
Yeah.
This car is on fucking 19, so you don't feel too fucking much on the road, I'll tell you that. Couple things I want to touch on with this car.
Beautiful.
Driving here, it's comfortable. One thing I really liked about the car, and still like about the car, is how the car tells you the speed limit. I love that. How the computer just says, yeah, speed zone 70 or whatever the fuck it is.
I want to point something out that you probably don't know. But you have these lines here that go up the hood and extend into the cab, into the dash.
Yep.
And yeah, they just keep those lines. Nice feature.
I'll add that to the list of shit that don't matter. Headlights,
Shit.
shit.
Complete shit.
They're shit.
You don't even put the high beams on, they don't do anything.
They're pretty shit. Those headlights are pretty shit. Oftentimes when I drove that, when I first got my license, and you let me take it, I'd rather the low beams than the high beams. I found they were more effective.
Yeah, you don't put the high beams on. Complete garbage.
This car, like, in my opinion, overall, it's worth getting. This edition anyways, I can't speak on the V8s, I can't speak on any other edition. This is just simply the V6 Touring Edition, the all-wheel drive. In snow it's great, in sand it's great. We took this to the beach a couple times. It holds its own. Like, it got power too. Like, I hate it on a lot, but that's just literally friendly banter. It's nothing against the car itself. It is quite powerful and does handle pretty good, but it's built shitty. It is built shitty. So if you plan on doing work on your own car, and this is the car you're like worrying about getting, make sure you understand. Make sure you guys understand that it will be quite a bitch to work on your fucking car. So yeah, that's slapping plates. Hope you guys enjoyed the review / video / whatever the fuck I did in this video. Yeah, that being said, hope you guys are having a good weekend. I'm making another video tomorrow on some shit, not sure what yet, but I'll see you guys then. Peace.
Say bye.
Bye.